Well, I'm now joined from Tel Aviv by political journalist and analyst Gideon Levy. Thanks for joining us. So what do you make of this case?
If it wouldn't be so sad, it could have been very funny, this whole story. It's a story of racism, a very well covered up racism. It's a story also of stupidity, if I may say so, because the court, I think, misunderstood the whole thing. It is also a story of male chauvinism, because it's all based on the assumption that the woman gives something and the man gets something, which is also something that should be different. In any case, I was asking today in my article the respectful judges in Jerusalem, would they also have convicted a Jew who would claim he is a Muslim and would go to bed with a Muslim? Would they also convict him for rape?
Well, it's interesting.
And above all, did they...
Sorry. Yes, it's interesting you raised that point, this racist point, because a bit earlier we had a guest on saying actually this case was about deception. The man lied to the woman. The main thing was he said he was single when in fact he was married, and actually it's people like you who have blown this up into a racist issue. It's about protecting women's rights and protecting them from deception, isn't it?
Sure, because we all are adult people, grown-up people, and we know that in any kind of relationship between men and women, there are big lies and small lies, white lies and black lies. He could lie her about his age. He could tell her he loves her and he didn't love her. He could tell her that he has a car and he doesn't have a car. This was not the issue. The real issue was that he is a Muslim who pretended to be a Jew, and this is the subtext of the whole thing.
And you're saying exactly the same. Well, as you said earlier, a Jewish man, if he had pretended to be an Arab, then it would be treated in a different way.
He wouldn't be treated, he wouldn't be brought to court at all. The whole subtext is, don't touch our women. That's the subtext if the judges meant it and if they didn't mean it. But that's the meaning.
Is it also about discrimination against Arabs then?
That's the baseline. I mean, Arabs are discriminated. Palestinians, like this guy, are discriminated. He knew that with a Palestinian name, he has no chance in the Jewish society. So he adopted himself a Jewish name. This was his only chance to be accepted, to be equal, to be a human being.
What chances are for him to win his appeal? He says he's going to appeal against this case. Are there any chances of him winning?
Yeah, I think there are very good chances because it became such an issue. And I give credit to the Supreme Court judges who are more intelligent than this and more sensitive than this. And they will understand that to send this guy for 18 months in jail after spending, by the way, 2 years in home arrest. He spent now 2 years at home. So after all he went through and after the whole fuss that became all over the world, by the way, including this interview, I think the Supreme Court judges will be clever enough to put an end to this ridiculous case.
Can you just briefly explain to us the situation there in Israel? We had a report earlier suggesting that there are elements of Israeli society really trying to attempt to control the relationships people form there within society. What is the situation like exactly?
First of all, let's put things in proportion. There are hardly relationships between Muslims and Jews, intimate relations almost nothing. It's very, very rare. The two societies, the two communities are totally segregated, and it's very, very hard to break the walls which cover both communities.
And is that dictated by the actual authorities rather than actually a feeling of public opinion where people may want to form these relationships but the authorities prevent that from happening?
I think if you would have made a poll today in the Israeli public opinion, which turned quite nationalistic, if not to say racist in the last years, I think there will be a majority of Israelis who would even like to see a law which will prohibit any kind of sexual relations between Jews and Arabs. The national sentiment is that this should not happen.
Gideon Levy, very interesting to hear what you have to say. Thanks very much indeed for joining us live here on RT there in Tel Aviv. Thanks.